Okay, biggest movie controversy of all time. Could Jack have fit on that door at the end?
Oh my gosh, I thought it. I remember bawling my eyes out when I was
I have no
a girl.
comment.
That's telling, I think.
That is the biggest controversy, I think,
Ever.
in modern cinema
Ever.
history.
Could you
Lee-
squeeze her?
He could have.
Yeah.
No comment.
Did you mention it at the time? Were you like, should we make the door smaller? So
Like I said, I have no comment.
It's
Movie magic,
too
my friend.
controversial.
Movie magic.
This movie is amazing. It's you've probably heard this before, but it is definitely a love letter to movies, movie going, movie making, the unsung heroes that make movies.
Television, LA.
There's a lot there. But what I really want to do with you guys is, because I feel like all four of us are big movie fans, is let's revel in our love of movies for a second, okay? What's the movie that you grew up with that made you obsessed with movies? What was the first movie that got you obsessed?
East of Eden.
All right, James Dean.
Well, the first film that I remember seeing was the black and white original King Kong with my dad downtown and bursting into tears and falling in love with movies at that point. But when I, got to become an actor, it was watching that very vulnerable James Dean in East of Eden who just blew me away.
Yeah.
Blew me away.
the first movie I remember being my favorite movie that I watched like 50 times over was Robin Hood Men in Tights. And I was like 5, and it was kind of inappropriate of a movie for a 5-year-old to watch every day.
That's
But
really
I
funny.
loved it.
That's really funny. For me, it was the drive-in. We would see films at the drive-in early age, and it was the ones that made me cry. It was gargantuans.
Oh.
It was a good gargantuan, bad gargantuan.
Don't remember it.
It's only Quentin would know about it. And the good one has to sacrifice himself to take out the bad one. Tears, and then I went straight from that to Butch and Sundance. Then the ending, tears again.
There's a great moment in the film where your character Sharon sees her face and name on a poster, on a marquee, and on a big screen. Do you remember that moment for you guys, like when the first time you saw your name or face, and was that a big moment?
I do. It was Parenthood, and on the Warner Brothers lot, there was a big poster of me, and I stood there for hours and had my mother take.
Sir, you're gonna have to leave.
Good on you for admitting.
There was a poster of Pan Am in Times Square, and I remember like I had just gotten to America, and now I'm in Times Square, and I'm like 30 feet high up there, and it was so. I remember asking someone to take a picture of me. I was like, oh, could you take a picture of me? Like, I'm gonna stand right here. And I kept cropping out the poster, and I kept having to be like, no, I need it. I need that, all of that in there. That's the point of the picture. And they're like, why? And I was like, I just need it in there, please.
That's sweet. That's a little Sharon Tate going to see her own film.
Is there a classic movie that you would be sad to admit right now you've never seen?
Gone with the Wind.
What?
You've never seen
I've
Gone
never
with the
seen Gone with the Wind either.
Wind? Are you serious?
I
guys
got
have
this.
never
Well,
seen
Oh my
1990
God.
you have an excuse. I don't have an excuse. Gone with the Wind or Sound of Music. I've never seen.
I have
I
never
figured-
seen Sound of Music.
I figure you've seen it?
I've never seen
Like 1,000 times. I remember when we did Wolf of Wall Street, you would get angry at me all the time. Every time I'd mention any movie I hadn't seen, he'd be like, how have you not seen Citizen Kane? How can you work in this industry and not have seen Citizen Kane? I'm like, I just got here to this industry. Like, you've had more time to watch this stuff. And then I went home and I'd go watch Citizen Kane and watch all the movies. He's like, you have to see this, you
I
have to
figure
see this.
I've gone this long.
Now
I
you
start now. I'm
Do you
going
know-
all the way.
I've never seen any
I
Star
refuse to
Wars,
see it now.
and I kind of don't watch it now just because it infuriates people so much. Like, how have you never watched any Star Wars? And I just kind of want to see how long I can make it now.
Let's go deep. Some big movie-going, existential or profound controversies over the years. And one that struck me watching the movie. Sharon puts her feet up, her bare feet up, on a seat in a movie theater.
And they're dirty.
Well, I don't even care if they're dirty, man. I mean,
Dirty feet.
Dirty.
Quentin likes
how
it.
dare you, dirty feet? But is that ever appropriate in a movie theater for someone's bare feet to be put on
In
a
the
seat?
60s, it sure was, right? I mean, I wouldn't
It's a
know.
good question. I did think about it. I was like, I don't want to convey that she's rude or impolite because she's neither of those things.
If you had the space, if you don't have neighbors close by,
No one's sitting in front.
I'm going to say it's okay.
Okay.
Maybe
I'm
not
gonna say it's
shoes
alright.
anyway. It's not shoes,
Right.
it's just your feet.
Right. Larry David may have a problem with
But
that
they were
still.
dirty.
They were dirty feet.
A couple other important movie discussions, perennial movie arguments. True or false? Floyd from True Romance, the greatest stoner character of all time.
Absolutely true.
Really? Thank you.
Absolutely true.
That's very
1,000%. Get cleaning
Because there's been
products.
some good ones.
Condescend
Don't
me,
Don't condescend
motherfucker.
me. No, thank you.
Condescend me, motherfucker.
Godfather 1.
Written by Quentin Tarantino.
Of course.
My favorite movie of all time.
True Romance, the great Tony Scott.
Really?
I
Amazing.
walked down the aisle to
right?
the True Romance museum.
Come on.
What?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Comic book movies. I was saying to Margot earlier, there is a connection in that Margot's next film, or upcoming film, was Birds of Prey, which was shot under the title, correct me if I'm wrong, Fox Force 5.
Correct.
You guys know what Fox Force 5 is? Do you remember?
No.
Fox Force 5, you tell, Margot.
Guys, in Pulp Fiction, when Uma and John Travolta are having their $5 milkshake, she's explaining the pilot that which I think in real life Uma had done. I think that dialogue was based off the fact that
She had done a pilot
she had
like
done
that.
a pilot like that, and then he turned it into dialogue, and then she talks about Fox Force 5, and it's like a whole scene. But in our movie, there's 5 prominent
good.
women, and like everything, we always throw a reference to like, oh, Tarantino moments that we pray to like inject into the film. So it felt fitting. And then also I asked Quentin, I was like, would you mind if we used the working title Fox Force 5? And he was like, he thought it was really funny.
Does it have a little bit of that anarchic, subversive Tarantino spirit? Birds
I
of Prey?
mean, yes, the spirit's definitely there, yeah.
Leo on this group is the only one that's alluded to comic book movies. You've done your time as Vanisher. Congratulations.
Thank
Your role
you.
was amazing in Deadpool
Thank
2.
you. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I was like, what are you talking about? That's right. That was really funny actually.
Is that it for you? Have you capped out? Is that you topped out?
I
on
think
yours?
I've taken it as far as I can take it.
It's kind of mic drop. That was a good scene.
Ryan Reynolds came up with a part that I could fill.
It's very funny.
I'm
watching
completely
it.
lost in everything that's being talked about.
You're so Rick Dalton right now.
Oblivious Rick Dalton, huh?
Oh my God, Leo's still in character.
By the way,
Yeah, dude.
what
I carry my characters a year after.
Same day losing your heart out. Last thing for you, there's an epic kind of a brain freeze moment for your character in this film where he just like melts down and you can't get through it. Did that remind you of any particular moments in your careers where like you just could not get through a scene for whatever reason?
Yeah.
Yeah, a few of them come to mind.
Definitely, so many.
I think we've all had those experiences, and they're the worst. They're the nightmare of going to school in your underwear, but
Yeah.
the real live version of it.
And just can't get out of your own
You
head.
got
It
100
just-
people
Yeah.
on set,
Yes.
and everyone wants to move on to the next or go home. You have a co-star who's already done theirs and done it well, and they're waiting on you.
I once had to do a scene where I had to be speaking Lingala, and there was also like stunt stuff happening at the same time, so it was really crucial, and I just couldn't speak. I couldn't and I've practiced this for so many months, and I cannot get my mouth around this language right now, and I kept messing it up.
It
And it was
usually has to do with being
mortifying.
incredibly exhausted. I remember
Yeah.
doing on The Aviator, I had a massive dialogue sequence, and then I just had 2 lines the next day. That was my whole day, and I couldn't, literally couldn't say those words. And poor Scorsese was just sitting there waiting like 40 takes later, like, oh my God, I could not say these 2 lines.
Did it make the movie?
It did.